I want to start introducing and then move on. Speak and then we'll ask questions.
Okay.
Okay, we're rolling.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much indeed for taking time out of your Saturdays to join me and my friend Viraj Singh here today in the Radisson Hotel in Goregaon. I told you not to call your wife at work. How many times have we said about the wives? Oh, that reminds me. Wait a second. I'm sorry, Mum. I'll call you later. Okay. Where were we?
Yes. So we start with the beginning.
Beginning? I can't remember what I said. Okay, no. Hello, my name's Richard Finney. Okay, ready? Okay, sorry. Ready? You're the boss. Okay. My name's Richard Finney. I own a company called Captain Fawcett. We specialise in male grooming products. And I'm here actually in the Radisson Hotel Goregaon in Mumbai with my friend Viraj Singh. And we're here to talk about our company's launch into the incredible India.
Something more about the product.
Okay. Captain Fawcett has existed as a company for over 10 years. As you can see, I have a moustache, splendid moustache, as indeed does my dear chum here. We were very much at the beginning of this moustache and beard phenomena. Sorry, am I being boring?
No, just keep
Okay, sorry. Very much as a company, we were very much at the beginning of this moustache and beard phenomena. I've waxed my moustache now for more than 25 years. And I too was in the British film industry. And how it came about, I used to make my wax in a very small tin, and I'd make enough which would last me 6 pots, which would last, as I said, probably for a whole year. Now my wife is a very well-known British film and TV hair and makeup artist. In fact, she got the Emmy for doing the second series of Downton Abbey. She designed Kate Blanchett's hair, which got the Oscar for Elizabeth, and she also got the BAFTA for Gormenghast. So when she started to take my products to work, the whole company exploded beyond our wildest imagination. From there, we then went into beard products, and we are now sold in 40 countries, distributed in 16. And the reason we're in India is because India, in many senses, no pun intended, is a huge growth market. And the reason we're here is with my friend Viraj. We are launching our own Maharajah range of male grooming products. We've started with the moustache wax. This is just literally the toe in the water, the tip in the water, as it were. But we're going to be launching into various other beard products.
Viraj, you being from India, what do you have to say about the launch of the product?
Yeah. So initially, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. I have a company called the Jodhpur Company. It sounds very Indian, and people relate it to Jodhpur, a place in Rajasthan. But it's more about the bottoms. Now, when you look at old pictures of old India and you see World War I pictures, World War II pictures, riding pictures, hunting pictures, shikar, you'll see the elephant-eared Jodhpur bottoms. So this is what we specialize in. That is what my company do. That's our bread and butter. And it's a revival of attire of the old, where the time where Britain were in India and there was a cross-pollination of many cultures, architecture, fashion, sport. So I don't want that era of fashion to just live in the history books. So that's when I made my first pair of jodhpurs in tweed. I took it to England, I took it to UK, and I must say I do indulge in shooting, from rifle shooting to shotgun shooting and shikar. So there I was in Housestead. I was up on a pheasant shoot, perched on a peg, which is a little wooden peg, and it's tucked into the ground, and that's where you stand before the partridges fly out. So there were 2 partridges that flew out. So those partridges were flying out, bang, bang. I knocked both of them over. It was probably a fluke. But by that time, I heard someone say, "Oh, sir, where did you get your jodhpurs from?" And I thought, "Jodhpurs?" And I looked down, and I thought, aha, he's talking about the Jodhpur bottoms. The Jodhpur bottoms that Sir Pratap, Maharajah Pratap Singh from Jodhpur, brought to UK during Queen Victoria's Jubilee. So then I went over to him, and I thought he was complimenting the shooting, but he wasn't. He was complimenting my bottoms. And he said, "Sir, who made those for you?" So I said, "My personal tailor from Rajasthan." So he said, "Sir, can you make me a pair?" And then that was it. The Jodhpur company became a company, and we specialize in Edwardian old style, sporting, horse riding, equestrian attire. Now, being a Rajput, the moustache is a symbolic thing. It's not just a thing of fashion. And when I first met Richie, I was telling him for a Rajput, the moustache is prominent. It's so important. And we're not allowed to take it off until our father passes away as a mark of respect. And Richie was fascinated, to hear the heritage behind the moustache, where there's been certain battles just because of a moustache. And I said, there are many proud Indians in North India who keep the beard, including the Sikhs, the Kshatriya community. And I said, it's a massive thing and we'll never take it off. And I started showing him pictures of my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and we went 4 generations back. And one common thing that we all have, our ancestors, is the curly moustache. So I've always had a moustache. I've had a handlebar for a very long time. So I said to Rishi, it just makes sense for us to do something to celebrate the old moustaches of the old. Celebrating the Thakurs, the Rajas, the Maharajas, and reviving a moustache, a wax moustache. Now, the last time, if you go through the history books, if you see a wax moustache, we're talking about Maharajah, Maharajah Kangarji of Kutch. If you look at his moustache, it's waxed. After that, you don't see any wax moustaches. Now, those chaps used to get their moustache from London, from UK. Now, there's been a break in history. The Indian market hasn't known of a moustache wax. And I just thought to myself, Richie, we need to revive heritage. We need to bring this back. And Captain Fawcett, what can I say about Captain Fawcett? I've been using their products for a very long time, 5 years. So the best moustache wax makers in the world. And I'm happy to say that we can now put the Jodhpur name on a tin and praise all the moustaches of old with Richie's help.
And this is the first. This is actually, we only made 40. This is the actual original Maharajah sample waxes. Some of you will be lucky enough to have a sample. I mean, if you're a lady and you don't have a moustache, then maybe you would allow one of the gentlemen who has something, because we don't have very many. We don't have enough for everybody. But if you're interested in one, we'd be very pleased if you were to take one. And this is my 7th time in India. It's my first time in Mumbai, and I have to say, I've experienced a great time, wonderful hospitality. But I too have spent a lot of time up in Rajasthan and further up north, up in Himachal Pradesh. And I was aware, even 9-10 years ago when I was coming in, that having a moustache is a symbol really of respect. I'd be coming through the airport and there'd be some businessman with some very expensive luggage in a very expensive suit. But the security man, the customs, the man with the rifle immediately would say, "Hello, sir. Fantastic moustache." And he'd start talking about the moustache. And the guy behind was fuming because he thought himself as being very important. You're not important in parts of India unless you have a moustache. That's true, isn't it?
Yes. And one thing that I want to say about Captain Fawcett. So everything that I was explaining about the moustache sounds very serious, sounds very military-like. But it's actually a fun brand. If you open up the tin and you have a look at the captain's picture, the sketch on the tin, it's a very, very, very fun brand. And you're talking about stuff like booze and baccy, to resemble a pub when you walk into UK. So it's a very lively, fun brand, and it's for motorcycle enthusiasts. Richie himself being a massive Harley man.
I ride an Enfield in many places in India. Great motorcycle.
So there should be an element of fun to it, And these usually will retail at tattoo shops, tailoring shops, and Richie will tell you a bit more about that.
We're sold in Hatters, we're sold literally into gift shops, we're sold in London Selfridges, we're sold in London Harvey Nichols. So we have an incredible reputation, and I actually manufacture behind the scenes. I make waxes for companies as old as Trumpers and the Pall Mall barbers. But there's a great belief in what we do. It is slightly tongue-in-cheek, as Viraj indicated, but there's a serious thing behind it. One of our mottos, one of our trademarks, in fact, is keeping a stiff upper lip regardless. We all sometimes face adversity, and there's that thing about, "Oh, I'm going to be okay," and you just look ahead and just press on. You have to press on, regardless, invariably.
So how did you both collaborate? I mean, what?
Well, we met in prison. Don't print that. Don't print that. It's not true. Yeah. No. Well, they won't report that, will they?
No,
I wouldn't want my mother to hear that. That'd be awful. No, that'd be terrible trouble. Right? Okay. Sorry. Forgive me. We first met through an interest in moustaches, and Viraj approached me, and we met in a very famous club in London called the Bike Shed, Well, we first discussed this notion, and this would have been 4 or 5 years ago. But I think with the same things, with most ideas, it's not an overnight thing. It's a kernel. You water the plant and you watch the plant grow and develop and bloom. And this is really what the stage we're at now of our development. So it's a collaboration which comes from a huge interest in ancestral history, but placed into the modern day.
So tell us, you have a lot of products here. What are the kind of
Well, initially,
that we have?
okay, we have many different products now. As I said to you earlier, we initially started with the moustache wax, and from then we went into beard products. But not everyone has a beard or a moustache. So we've done shaving equipment so people can then shave. We've also done perfumes. We've now even do tattoo salve. So we're very close to actually having the full range for everything that a gentleman would need to look particularly dapper and well groomed. Our next step will be moving into moisturizers and face scrubs, and then even into hair pomades. But 10 years, as I said, 10-year our anniversary will be next year, and things take slow to do everything organically. We don't have any investment. This is done from a complete passion. And I know many of you will have visited the UK and will actually have friends and family in the UK. We have a museum of 3,000 square metres. Is it metres? Mostly metres, or 9,000 square feet,
Yeah.
which is a complete homage to the barber shop of yesteryear. Our oldest razor dates back to 1650. That's nearly 400 years old. And we come right through the 1880s, right through to the 1960s. So you'd be very welcome next time you're in the UK to come and have a visit, and I would definitely make you a decent cup of tea.
Viraj, we want to know from you, what is the take on, the faces change over years now, the grooming for men especially.
Sure.
So what do you have to say? Where do you see, being from UK to Jodhpur to back to India?
Sure.
Where have you seen the growth so far?
So I think with the moustache and the beard, I think we went for a phase where we'll see many of the sort of young Asians, be it in India or British Indians or British Pakistanis, starting to grow their beard, be it Bollywood or music, that sort of stuff, and it became very, very cool. So I do think there is a revival in facial hair. If you go down, if you go up, to north, Gurgaon, Delhi, Punjab, you'll see a lot more people with facial hair now. And I think it is not too much culture anymore, but it's a thing of fashion. And I suppose the women would agree with me.
Yeah, I mean the whole beard trend, and in fact the rebirth, the renaissance of the barbershop. I've even written a book about it called The Quintessential Grooming Guide for the Modern Gentleman. And we've got photographs from India. I mean, traditionally you've had the guy, sitting cross-legged with a piece of broken mirror, and he's been doing a little shave. Or then you've had the old traditional shave stops. Now many of the trendy guys will go to a unisex salon. But what's happening? The whole rebirth is coming initially from America through the UK, and it's sweeping to the east. It's already happening in Australia. So it's the barbershop, a place where a man can go and talk to his friends, talk about the cricket, talk about sport, talk about tattooing, talk about his girlfriend, sometimes even talk about some of their little problems that they may have. But it's a space, it's a safe space where men can, maybe if they're inclined, have a little beer or a drop of whiskey. So the renaissance of that barber shop, which has always been quite traditional for men to be able to sit and chew the fat. What's said in the barber shop stays in the barber shop. And there is that great renaissance. And we're here, and we hope to be able to get involved with barbering. I mean, you have True Fit and Hill, which has opened, I think, maybe 12, and they're looking at maybe another 15. We're on a par with that caliber and quality. There is a demand. So we are making beautiful products using essential oils, no fragrance. It's all base oils within this one specifically, the Ricky Hall Booze and Baccy, which Viraj referred to earlier. This, in actual fact, has 4 base oils and at 9 essential oils. So this is an expensive product to produce. We're not in competition with other companies that are making cheaper products because we are working with a niche. We have that history, the halcyon history. So we're working with niche people who want the best products. You will always have one person who owns a tuk-tuk, and you have somebody else who wants the Lamborghini or a Ferrari or an old Bentley, rather like the Maharajahs of yore. So that's really the people we're aiming at. People who want to spend that little bit of time, a little bit of extra money on looking the bee's knees.
And one thing that I want to touch on is the quality of the actual product. Now, Richie, you've got an antique connoisseur He told you about his museum. Now to have that collection within, that factory, it's unbelievable, because some of the stuff that's gone through Richie's hands, you wouldn't even see in a museum. You wouldn't even see at the V&A or British Museum. And when you're a connoisseur of antiques and you know how certain things work, imagine what his products must be like. So it's got old world charm, but he's modernizing it. And trust me when I say this, the caliber of products that Captain Fawcett churns out is unbelievable. I'm an antiques enthusiast myself. You'll see it on my Instagram. My main forte is antique arms and armour, which brings me on to something else. Maharajah Ganga Singh Ji of Bikaner, he used to hold lavish darbars for the British guests when they used to come into his palace. He had a huge moustache. So what he did was he created this spoon, with a little lip. So whenever he sipped his soup, his moustache wouldn't get drenched in his soup. Now Richie has recreated a Victorian mug which has a moustache lip, and it's fascinating. I mean, go on the website, have a look at it. I haven't seen a product like that in the current market. So this is where knowledge, antique knowledge comes into it, and Richie's modernizing it, and it's very similar to what the Jodhpur company do. Yeah, it is an element of coolness, but we have a background knowledge of how it was done back in the day, and I think that explosion of both worlds coming together, that is what makes it special.
And it's referencing the past, but with an eye to the future. And the most amazing thing, you can be the poorest man in the world, and you can be the richest man in the world. And what would they have in common? At some time, for sure, they've had a shave or certainly had a haircut. This is something for everybody. I'm working with another guy in Italy now his barbershop opened in 1809. His great-grandfather was one of Al Capone's 9 barbers. He had 9 barbers that were all checked out, because obviously he didn't want to be. And then each day, one of them would go to his hotel. He'd have a manicure, a pedicure, and a shave. So there's a wonderful history, and if we can draw on this, and then with Viraj's help and with your help, please, giving Captain Fawcett and the Jodhpur company a little bit of promotion, then we look forward to working here and expanding our range of simply first-class gentlemen's grooming requisites into the noble country of India.
Viraj, what are the price points in India for the wax, the different kinds?
So the moustache wax, Richie will give you a breakdown of the price point. He's the man to explain that.
So Richie,
Well, we haven't actually totally determined the price point as yet, but we have to take, obviously, the market into consideration. But I am a niche brand, so you won't necessarily find me in the cheap, in the Sally's and the Superdrugs and the Boots Chemists or Walgreens or your equivalents. But we are in the price range of True Fit and Hill. So it's not completely unattainable, but it's something that's actually desirable.
Any questions, anybody? You have? Yes.
So sorry, sir. Sorry, forgive me.
Bombay is a commercial capital as well as fashion capital of India.
Mm-hmm.
Why you took so long to come to Mumbai?
Well, I was hitchhiking, you see, and the lift for no. I've come here on holiday before on motorcycle tours. As I said, I was in the north and actually further south. But I think, first of all, with a brand, you need to establish yourself within your kind of home territories. And then you can build your reputation. And then you can go to countries like India and say, well, this is who we are. This is our lineage. This is our heritage. We have some actual roots rather than some fly-by-night thing. So I wanted to make sure that the time was right. And I believe that the time is now right. Whereas before, I'm not so sure.
True Fit and Hill, as you said in your talk just now, will this product available in those branches?
No, True Fit and Hill. I happen to know the people who own that company, as originally in St James, and the original shop is still there. It's owned by a young couple now. They bought the company, and they are franchises. So that means, and they're all over the world now, Singapore, etc. And as I said, I think there's 20 in India, or there will soon be 20 in India airports, and I think there's 3 even in Bombay. But if you have a franchise, then you would have to purchase their products. So we won't be available in True Fit and Hill, and I'm personally, I don't feel in competition with them. I'm just mentioning that name really is to give an indication as to where we are with our products.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, what I'd like to do then, before it's a bit quiet, if I'd really like you to follow our Instagram. Certainly have a look at our Instagram. There's 51,000 genuine followers there. I haven't rented some village in Thailand or something, you know. It's genuine. We're totally passionate, enthusiastic. I'll also give you a little bit of a thing here, which gives you just a bit of an idea of, you know, why we've come to India. It's a little bit of background there. I should also like to give you a set of patches, and I've got some badges. But if you'd be kind enough to form an orderly queue, because I'm overwhelmed.
We can just pass it on from here.
I'm overwhelmed by the number of people who've come today, and thank you. We are both, I think,
thank you so
truly honoured
for coming down.
for
Truly
that.
appreciate it.
And so I haven't prepared quite as much as I should have done. But I think it'd be better if people came round, and then I can talk to them and give them, shake their hands. But I'd like to shake their hands if that's all right.
I think we'll start from here.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, one of each, and a business card. No, Nikki, you can't have one.
We just do some picture.
Yes, carry on if you need anything first.
We need to stand.
Sure.
Oh, stand.
Take a picture.
I was standing actually. I'm quite short now.
We can use these. Sure.
Thank you. Let's go to center. Now, please be very careful with these photographs, because my wife thinks I'm in the north of England visiting my mother. I could be in terrible trouble.
Just hold the product in
Yes.
hand.
Maybe do one each side.
Take bigger one.
Take a big one.
Actually, that is
Yes, take a. These are beard balms, but we're happy. It's not a problem. We can take up a few things.
Rajat, you can hold that.
Just an indication. Up a bit more level to the camera. Yeah.
So you can smile also.
Smile. I never smile.
Please do that.
Okay. Don't smile.
Yes, center look.
What's right?
To right, you, sir.
Down. On your left.
Down.
Center
Can we go around the
look.
table? What we'll do, to keep it simple, we'll go around the table. So we'll start here, and then we'll slowly shift like a gun turret.
Oh yeah.
All right, ready? Okay, slowly moving.
Hold on your ear.
Okay, look normal. I said look normal.
Okay.
No, you made me laugh. Please, no smiling shots. Good.
That's my shotgun now.
Brilliant. Okay, to this gentleman here with the blue shirt, with the cannon. Okay, thank you. And then to the cannon down on the bottom of the table. Is that the police arrived? Have they found out where we are? Somebody's out. Okay. As you can see, we both have a lot of humour, and our brand has a lot of humour.
Viraj, look here. Sir, look here.
Ready to do these guys here? You ready? 1, 2, yeah. Yeah. I forgot my turn.
Sir, look here.
Brilliant. Okay, and to Nikki. Hello. I've seen it somewhere before. Have you seen it before?
Looks familiar.
Yeah. Wouldn't lend her any money. Brilliant. Oh, well done.
So I just do one more. You can just shift there, one step behind.
One step behind.
Yeah.
Sure. We're quite wide bend. Quite wide bend. I'm going to put the products down now. This is the gun relaxed. Yeah? So take away.
Your
Just
left.
put one of the products.
Your left.
So
What?
Yeah.
Let's hold the Maharajah then. Which one would you like?
the bigger one.
This one? Okay, sir.
Yeah, look, sir.
Okay, where am I going?
Yeah, let them finish.
Okay, of course.
First one.
No, first one over here.
So here.
Okay, to you, sir.
Second on this one. You can just both hold this. Yeah, that's better. I guess from the other hand. Yeah.
You got your man up right? No, he's not right. Oh my garlic gumdrops. Good Lord Almighty. Look at the side down there, Branch. We can have the afternoon off. Brilliant. Yes, indeed. Same kind of thing. I'd rather do this. You do that. I'll do this. Okay. Brilliant. Cool. Yeah, oh yeah. That's it. Right.
Just take a solo picture.
Yes, of course, yes. Any individuals? Yes, sir. In the middle.